Hey guys, welcome to Abbie's Auras, or welcome back if you've been here before. Please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Hey guys, so today's video is all about real relationship talk, and I'm just gonna give you a few of examples and how the ego comes into play sometimes and we don't realize, or how we can kind of use our defense mechanisms but in arguments, but it really doesn't get us anywhere. So I've got notes because I don't want to miss any of these points, so I might look down a little bit in the video, but hopefully this video won't be as long for you guys as yesterday because it was super long. But it's just a really important topic, and when you understand the way I'm going to talk about it, then it helps you not just in a relationship with your partner, it also helps you in life with different relationships you've got, and helps you see yourself really for how you're acting and how you can change that if you need to, or how you can use the good things that you're doing to benefit you. So I'm going to go straight into the big one. I've learned all of this by someone else, and I was watching I think it's called Red Table Talk. I think it's basically where the Smith family, they all sit down on this red table and they talk about different issues, and this one really hit home with me because it made me realize the things that I've gotten over and that I, thank God, I don't do anymore, but I'm still learning just like everyone else. And the more we learn about these things, the better we can be in our life, really, with everyone. So I really want to, I'll give you some examples of what I've done and things like that, but honestly, the more truthful you are with yourself, the more you can grow and have a better life. So even if you have an amazing life, you can there's still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. So don't see this as if you're doing any of these right now, don't see it as a negative. See it as a positive that you've noticed and that you can do things to better yourself. So number one is something that I have not realised before, but then I've the way they worded it, I was like, yes, that really makes sense. So it's basically about when you're in an argument with in your relationship, and you're kind of arguing with each other, and one person's got their point and the other person has their point, and they're going at it and no, I'm right, or I'm right, and then there's ultimately, you feel like you either won the argument or you lost. But really, honestly, if you've won the argument out of you both, then you've still lost, because your relationship is the one that's kind of suffering from it. But then also, if you lost then the other person won, then it's the same, you've still lost and the other person's still lost, because it's your relationship that is suffering, and you should take it on as a team. So if you have a disagreement in your relationship, then see it as both of you in the relationship have a disagreement about this situation, so it's you both against the situation or problem or whatever it is. So you both need to come to an understanding and understand where each other are coming from, so you can resolve this situation or scenario, whatever you're going through. So if you come to an agreement together and understand where both parts are coming from, how it's making them feel, how it's making you feel, how you think would be best to move on from it, how they would. It's all about discussion and being open and honest about everything, but not in a judgy way. So not no, I'm right because I feel like this. Because if you feel like that, then that's completely true to you. But also, if they're hurting and they feel a different way, that is true to them too, because that's how they're feeling. So just understanding that, and then understanding that you're both in it together against the situation, then you both win, because you are coming from you, rather than like arguing and shouting at each other, you're coming from it from a healthy point of view, and you're going to, if there's two people trying to figure out the same problem, then it like figure out the same like a solution to this problem, then you will win. And then this situation, that like the not very nice situation, is going to lose, and your relationship is going to benefit from you acting as a team rather than against each other. So I thought that was a really good point, and it made me think about how I'm going to act in the future. And it's not just about relationships, it's about like every type of relationship in your family. So if someone's coming to me and they're going to tell me like an issue or something like that, I'm not going to kind of get defensive. I've been working on that anyway, but like in this point of view, I just see it in a different way, and I'm like, no, like I understand that now. What I'm feeling is also very valid, but also what they're feeling is true to them. So we should appreciate that, not just like, I used to think that like, no, I'm feeling like this, so why do you not understand? And why are you feeling different if I feel like this? Like, I didn't quite get that there was their side is completely true as well, because that is how they're feeling, and that's what they're going through in their own mind about the same situation. So everyone sees the same situation differently, so you just need to both understand how the other one's feeling and how they're thinking, like because of the situation, and then work on it together. So I'm going to go on to the next point before this video takes forever like yesterday. Okay, so this one was every moment that I've written down is just mind-blowing to me, when I was realising like, wow, it makes me realise things in my past that I wish I knew this now, so then I didn't allow people to treat me like that. So love is a noun and not a verb. So love is an action word. And the example they give, which resonated with me so much, they basically said like, so basically when you're in a relationship and whether it's like a loving relationship or whatever, I'm talking about a loving relationship now, like in this video, because it just makes sense to more people, but I've had like negative relationships that are from family, so that's where most of my experience comes from. But basically when you're, let's say you're in a toxic relationship, maybe with a narcissist, and they're maybe abusing you. So once they've done this abuse and like maybe they've hit you, said horrible words, tried to control you, after they've done all of that, they then try and turn it around and be like, well, I love you and I'm so sorry, but I do love you. But that's the point where people stumble upon and don't understand it as much, because you're so consumed in that world and you really do believe them, and you really do start to think and get gaslighted like, well, they obviously do love me. They wouldn't say that they love me if they didn't, but their actions are not showing you that they love you, because love is a noun and it's an action word. Are they taking care of you in a way that they would never harm you? Are they encouraging you to do good things in the world, rather than like, no, stay at home with me, you don't see your family or friends because like you're mine and they're bad influence on you, like things like that. So I'm not trying to say like, do they buy you flowers, do they buy you gifts, like things like that, because not everyone loves in the same way, and I don't think that you should need the gifts and things, and like you don't need things like that for them to mean that they love you, not at all. But at the same time, how are they treating you? Are they treating you with respect that you deserve? Because everyone deserves respect. So just see how they're acting towards you, and are they respecting you, like kind of, rather than what they're saying. Because that's another point. I didn't write it down, but it just came to me in my head. They just basically was saying when someone is telling you how they are, like, so if they're saying like, this is me, this is what I'm like, don't try and rewrite that, because they're speaking their truth. They are like that. But like, let's say if it's in a negative way, like, yeah, don't trust me, like I am a liar. Don't try and rewrite that, because they're saying it. So trust that they are saying it, they're being honest, and like, so trust that and then back away, rather than, I've been in a situation before where I'm like, oh, like they're just being like so harsh on themselves, like I want to like help them, and hello, that should have seen a red flag right there. But we grow and we learn from it. So don't ever try and rewrite their story when they're telling you the truth. So that's a big one that I came to realize that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next point. Ego has no place in a relationship. So I will say my point. I can see in my past relationship that I've done things to seek validation from others. And I've also tried to do it in a way where I cover my back. So I would do nice things for them. I would like really look after them and kind of try and be the ideal like wife type person. Like my family, I come from a traveller community, so my dad's side of the family are travellers, and the man goes out to work, the woman stays at home, and not always, but like that's just like genuinely what happens. So they basically like kind of like really like look after the man and like dote on them and things like that. So I would try, I don't like that way of life. I love working and I love my independence. But this is where I always found it hard, because I would still be so rooted in that other belief where you do need to look after them and overly compensate by doing such nice things. But that was more for them to validate my worth, and also for myself, so I could be like, when they do eventually hurt me, because I always knew it was going to happen, when I knew when they eventually would hurt me, then I would be like, well, I did everything I possibly could, so it's not my fault. And I would never take ownership. I would be like, well, I did everything I could, like, and I wouldn't be doing it for the right reasons. Like, now if my partner said to me like, oh, could you do this for me, I'll be like, yeah, 100%, because we're a team and we have each other's back. Whereas if he just constantly was taking and taking and taking, then I would be like, no, like we need to help each other in a way because I want to help him and he wants to help me, not because I want to seek his approval, or because I want him to love me, or because I want him to maybe be nicer to me. You have to see the way you're going about things and the reasons behind it. So I basically would take on more responsibility in the relationship, and I would carry all of what you're meant to do, like what you're meant to do in a relationship, because I wanted to do everything. So I didn't want them to buy me things or pay for anything. I didn't want like I had to do like everything basically, because I didn't want them to have any power over me. So I would basically, like, say for instance, I can use as an example, I would do everything for them, so then they could never take anything away from me and be like, well, I got you that, because I want to do everything myself. But whereas in the relationship I'm in now, I would never let anyone, especially around my work, because like that's like, I enjoy my work and that's my pride and joy. So before this business, I had like a beauty business and things like that. Anyway, so moving on, my partner made this name for my YouTube. Like, I didn't come up with that, my partner did. I was like asking him like for his advice, and I can't think of a name, like, you know, and he came up with it and I loved it and I kept it. But in like a few years ago, I would have been like, oh no, and I wouldn't have used it just because somebody else gave me that, and I wouldn't want them to be like, well, you wouldn't have got where you are if it wasn't for me. So where my mindset has changed, it's like I enjoy kind of asking for advice and like, what do you feel about this? And then kind of having like a healthy debate about it, like, oh no, well I think this, like, but then it kind of goes in with your answer too. So I wonder why we have two different answers, and then kind of like discussing it. And then like also then they'll give you ideas like, oh, what about this? That looks interesting. And you'll be like, wow, that's really interesting. And you kind of help each other out in a healthy way. Like whatever is mine, like my business is mine, and I still have my independence, but I'm allowing myself to share experiences with other people so that I can grow, because my brain only knows so much and can only see so much. So when other people gives you inspiration, then it helps you grow. And that I didn't realize that I was just always so standoffish because I didn't ever want anyone to take anything away from me. I wanted to do it all myself, and I was struggling really when I didn't have to. So also the next point is ego. Ego can come along with fear. So when it hurts and you're in this argument, let's say, and when you're in a fight and you're hurting, someone's maybe touched on like a trigger point of yours, then that can be like your fear kind of comes up and your ego's like, no, I'm not allowing that to happen. And you go into kind of like an attack mode, like, or some people find it like they make jokes because they're like that. It's just whatever you do to kind of help yourself get through. I can't remember what it's called, but basically like you go on it like autopilot, like some like shout, and some people go quiet and go into themselves, and like that's what I do. I kind of go quiet and then I'm like, right, okay, and I'm figuring it all out in my head before I have my response, because I want to know that I have the right mindset before I'm just going to blurt loads of stuff out, which I used to think was unhealthy because I wasn't expressing everything. But I think now that I would rather have my mindset, because I know that I'm going to take my time to figure out how I'm feeling about it, and then I'm going to explain to you, like definitely going to explain to you how I feel, but it won't be because I've had time to think it's going to be in the right mindset, rather than screaming at someone and shouting. Or some people use humor to like hide their true feelings and be like, oh yeah, sure, like I don't care, when really they do. So really just using this as a tool. So when you figure out whatever you do, understand when it comes up, because then wherever it's coming up and you're thinking like, and you kind of get triggered, then that's something that you can do healing around. Because if you're getting triggered, then it's like maybe something from your past that has hurt you in that sense, but maybe the person you're having this row with, like your partner or something, doesn't know about that. So if you take a minute to step back from the fear rather than going completely crazy straight away, then you can understand, like see and understand like why they're saying the things they are. They're probably hurting too, and some stuff in an argument they don't mean, but at the same time it's hurting you so much because that's your trigger. So if you explain to them like, listen, like I've been hurt by in the past by that word, or like things like that. So just be very open and honest, but very like vulnerable, because if you're not open and honest and vulnerable and put all your cards on the table, if they respect it, then you know that it's healthy and it can progress and you can work it out. But if they use that to take advantage of you, then that's it, you leave, because you don't put your worth on someone else. And if they know that they're going to hurt you by saying that, you're not going to be able to grow in that situation, and that's just too far. So just be aware when your ego comes into play with fear, because it's scary to be vulnerable. It's one of my scariest topics, to be honest, because I have a really weird fear around the word love. So, but I'm working on that, and I'm being vulnerable myself on this video with sharing all of this to you guys, because I feel like if I am learning about it and I'm gonna grow from learning about it, if I share it with you, then you might feel safer to kind of be vulnerable and share your situation too. So yeah, so just talk it out and see where the other person's coming from, why they're feeling that way, and then also do the same for you. And then hopefully you won't have that same argument again because you've squashed that situation. And remember, it's you two against the situation rather than you two at each other's throat. Okay, so last point. If we become aware of how we think, feel and respond, so think, feel and respond, write them down in the comments. Think, feel and respond. So every time you're in a situation, you think, oh, okay, Abbie said, how do I think, feel and respond? So if you're aware of these 3 things, then we can start to go about things in a healthier way, and we can basically grow, and we can be in a relationship then for the right reasons rather than the ego. We don't want to be doing things for the ego like I used to do. Like I used to do things to make them happy and like kind of to get their validation. It wasn't for them necessarily, it was to make them happy in the moment, so they would be like, oh Abbie, you're amazing. But it wasn't for them truly, it was for me. And I didn't know that at the time, and I know it now, so I know how to progress and do things in a healthier way. Because when you're in the healthy relationship and when you feel complete yourself, then you're not going to attract the nasty narcissistic people. You're going to attract like loving people that have your best interests, and you can, maybe you'll still have disagreements, but you can get through them together because they'll just be like, oh, okay, I didn't understand that you felt like that, and now I feel like this. So then we can come together and then experience something in a different way. So this is a long video again, and I do apologize, but I think it's a really important topic to talk about, and the more raw and authentic we are with ourselves, we can grow and we can experience love in a healthy, positive way, which is scary. And love is scary in any way because, you know, you can get hurt, but also it's amazing to experience love and at a true I love myself. I don't need other people to love me to be able to love myself and feel completely whole. So let's say, I think I've talked about in a different video, when you have one complete person and another complete person, you come together, and I think they say it makes infinity. But when you have one person that is like half because they're like looking for validation or things like that, and then you have another the same like half, then you're only going to fill up, like you're gonna like take from their cup to make you feel better, let's say. So you have 2 half cups, you're gonna take from their cup to make you feel better, so then they're gonna feel like so low and crappy and down, so then they're going to take from yours, and then it's going to be an escalating thing. Like you're only ever going to make one complete person, but you're never going to feel whole and complete because you're always trying to take from each other to make yourselves feel better and to hide and like to mask your true feelings. But if you can work on it together, if you can work on yourself, then that is the sweet spot where we grow, we feel truly happy, and we start to see things in a different way. And I think now I'm truly happy and I can share this with you. I'm not completely gone through this experience like to the end, because I don't think I'll ever stop learning about things like this until I die, truly. But I'm just sharing my experience along the way and hoping that it helps someone, because if I'd have known the things, if I'd never figured this out, I would have still been searching for validation and searching for someone to just love me for me and to feel safe and to have relationships just to not be on my own as such. And it's just, that's not the way we're meant to do it. I have like, my mum passed away and I have a toxic dad. Would never normally talk about this on this channel, but it's true. I do. I have a narcissistic dad and my mum passed away, and I was always seeking for validation from other people and looking for someone to kind of love me, but really it was always coming from the worst people that would like match with my vibration, because I wasn't feeling like love. I wasn't, and it literally is making me feel weird talking about it, because I'm not normally, don't talk about this subject, but basically because I was at such a low vibration, I didn't love myself. I was completely just, it was the wrong way to go about looking for relationship and love, and I was never even looking for it in a sense where I'd go searching for a relationship. It would just happen, and then I would always need to be loved from someone. Whereas now it's hard to let people into my life because I'm wanting to keep my independence, but then I don't want to hurt other people's feelings by not being completely in like a normal relationship, let's say. So right now I'm just focusing on me and my family. My partner is amazing, and yeah, we have a child together, so he is amazing, but we're both going through this situation and learning, and I feel like if I'm just honest with you guys, then you might see and learn yourself. So I feel like I'm rambling now because I'm getting nervous talking about it. So I'm gonna go, and I will see you tomorrow.